Trump is fortunate to have us, Ford responds to US President's jabs at Canada. So the President of the United States just told the world that Canada only exists because of America. Yeah, that happened. And Doug Ford? Well, he's not having it. Buckle up, because this is getting spicy. Hey, quick favor before we dive in. If you're enjoying the chaos, smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell. Seriously, over 90% of you are watching without subscribing. It's free, takes 2 seconds, and honestly, it helps us keep bringing you the maple-flavored drama. Appreciate you. Now, let's get into this absolute train wreck. Picture this. You're at a family dinner. Everything's going fine. Then your neighbor leans over the fence and announces to everyone that you only have a house because they allow it. Awkward, right? Well, that's basically what just went down between Donald Trump and Canada, except the dinner table is the global stage and the stakes are about $800 billion in trade. During a speech in Switzerland, Trump decided to remind everyone that, in his words, Canada lives because of the United States. Not Canada and the US have a strong partnership. Not we're great allies. Nope. Canada apparently exists at America's pleasure, like some kind of continental participation trophy. Thanks for that, Don. And listen, we're used to Trump saying wild things. The man once suggested nuking hurricanes. But this hit different. Because when you're talking about your largest trading partner, your longest standing ally, and literally the country that shares the world's longest undefended border with you, maybe don't treat them like a sidekick in your superhero movie. Enter Doug Ford. Now, Ford isn't exactly known for holding back. This is a guy who once compared the federal carbon tax to a regime and called Ottawa's policies the worst in the free world. So when Trump threw shade at Canada, Ford wasn't about to sit there eating poutine quietly. You don't attack your closest friend, your closest neighbor, and your #1 customer in the world, Ford fired back. And honestly, he's got a point. Because here's the thing Trump seems to have forgotten while he was busy making Switzerland uncomfortable, Canada isn't just some random trading partner. We're America's biggest customer. Bigger than China. Bigger than Mexico. We buy more American goods than any other country on earth. Let that sink in for a second. All those America First speeches? Well, guess who's first in line buying American products? That's right. Your friendly neighbors to the north, complete with our apologetic tendencies and inexplicable love of double-double coffees. But Ford didn't stop there. Oh no. He pointed out something that should be painfully obvious to anyone who's glanced at a trade report in the last decade. They're fortunate to have us. And you know what? The numbers back him up. Canada sends about 77% of our exports to the United States. That's huge for us, sure. But here's what Trump's missing. We're also critical to American supply chains, energy security, and about 2 million American jobs. Think about it. Canadian energy keeps American homes warm. Canadian aluminum builds American planes. Canadian steel constructs American infrastructure. We're not some charity case living off American generosity. We're integrated into the American economy so deeply that hurting Canada means hurting America. It's economic symbiosis, not dependence. And let's talk about that whole Canada lives because of the United States comment for a second. Because historically speaking, that's not just wrong, it's hilariously wrong. Canada became a country in 1867, and we've been doing just fine, thank you very much. We're a G7 nation. We've got the 10th largest economy in the world. We have universal healthcare, stable banks that didn't collapse in 2008, and we've welcomed millions of immigrants who've helped build one of the most prosperous countries on the planet. Do we trade heavily with the US? Absolutely. Are we friends and allies? 100%. Do we exist solely because America lets us? Yeah, that's gonna be a hard no. Here's where it gets interesting though. Ford's response isn't just about defending Canadian pride, although there's plenty of that. It's strategic. Ontario does more trade with the US than any other province. Ford knows that inflammatory rhetoric from Trump could spook markets, disrupt supply chains, and ultimately cost Ontarians jobs. So when Trump goes off script, Ford has to respond, not just as a proud Canadian, but as a premier protecting his province's economic interests. And this isn't happening in a vacuum. Remember, we've been through this before with Trump. The tariff threats. The NAFTA renegotiation that turned into USMCA. The constant unpredictability. Canadian leaders learned the hard way that you can't ignore Trump's comments, even the outrageous ones, because markets react and investors get nervous. What makes this particularly frustrating is the timing. The US and Canada are navigating some genuinely complex issues right now. Border security, defense spending, critical minerals. These are serious conversations that require serious diplomacy. But instead of constructive dialogue, we get Trump and Switzerland casually suggesting Canada's existence is conditional. Ford's clapback matters because it sets a tone. It tells Canadians that their leaders won't just roll over when disrespected. It tells the Americans watching that Canada isn't going to accept being treated as a subordinate. And it tells the world that despite the power imbalance, Canada has a voice and we're going to use it. So where does this leave us? Well, with a trade relationship that's too important to fail and political theater that's too entertaining to ignore. Trump can say whatever he wants in Switzerland, but the reality is that North American prosperity depends on cooperation, not condescension. Thanks for watching Maple News. We'll keep tracking this story as it develops. Stay curious, stay informed, and stay proud.